And we're live from our studios here, number 35, John Hammond Street in Accra. Hello, good afternoon to you. Welcome to the Midday News on 3FM 92.7. Also live on all our social media platforms at 3FM 927. Coming up this afternoon, 3 companies under investigation over Electricity Company of Ghana's missing containers from the port. This afternoon, we'll take you live to Shire Hills, where the Energy Minister is leading officials to inspect some cables.
But it was full, so they had to devise another way of concealing it. So all the car rims you are seeing there, it's not rims. It's actually cables. They have put the cables there and covered it up with the rims.
We're getting details in the bulletin. Also coming up, Supreme Court to hear injunction application for Chief Justice removal on April 2.
Maybe it is the premonition informing the composition of the Council of State that is making the Chief Justice jittery.
Of course, we have the details here coming shortly. Plus, government plans to push over 150,000 students into private schools as part of broader plans to phase out the double-track system. We have details of these stories and a lot more coming to you shortly. Please stay with us. You're reminded that we're live also on all our social media platforms at 3FM 927. My name is Noble Crosby Annan. Let's get into the details of the stories this afternoon. 3 companies are currently under investigation over ECG's missing containers from the port after national security uncovered a cartel cutting electrical cables to the detriment of the state. The companies, 2 of which were busted yesterday, mailed the cables procured by the state electricity distributor, turning them into aluminium poles before shipping them abroad for onward sales. Energy Minister Dr. John Jinapor, who revealed details of the bust yesterday to TV3, is on the ground visiting the now shut down companies, vowing to end the illegality. He's there with my colleague Mawin Egbata. With the team, he'll be joining us to provide us update on how the investigations are going. But first, take a listen to the Chief Superintendent Al-Hassan Osman. He is the director of the investigations at the National Security Council in relation to this disturbing development of the theft of ECG products.
Ongoing for so many years, from the intel we had here, according to some of even their own workers, this has been going on from 3-4 years ago. They were producing these products from the ECG cables. And so it's not even a new thing. So you can imagine the amount of money that they have been able to get from it. And now people sell it very cheap to them. From here, I want us to go and then you see the modules, how they conceal it. They have a warehouse that when they buy, they stack all the cables there. But it was full, so they had to devise another way of concealing it. So all the car rims you are seeing there, it's not rims. It's actually cables. They have put the cables there and covered it up with the rims. So we'll go there, you look at it. They will now go to the warehouse itself, and you also see the quantity of cables we have there. Okay, it has only packed rims here, but we only have the rims on top. But under forward, basically we have the piece from up to expose the side, and that is some of the exhibits that we have here. Now.
So that is Chief Superintendent Al-Hassan Osman, the Director of Investigations at the National Security Council, explaining to some journalists on the update of this very disturbing development. My colleague Mawin Egbata, he is with the team, is joining us with some more. Mawin, thanks for joining us on the program. What more can you report on this visit by the Energy Minister?
As of now, we're on to the third company, which per the details we're getting, there's an additional company. Yesterday we know that there were 2 companies initially within the Shire Hills area where the national security operatives went in and were able to discover the 40 containers which the minister reviewed details of to us yesterday at Media General. 40 of such containers were traced to the Shire Hills area. As at this afternoon, we get the indication there's an additional company. That's where we're headed right now, and so it brings a number to 3. As whether or not there's been arrests made at this third company, we're yet to get there and be able to get a real briefing from the ministry. But we've been there, we've seen really what's been transpiring. In fact, some of the furnaces or the machines which were used to melt these aluminium wires which were procured by the Electricity Company of Ghana were still giving off heat when the team, including the minister and journalists, arrived there. And you realize that according to the minister, he believes this is syndicate of some sort which has been engaged in this particular action. The Director of Investigations at the National Security Council tells us that per initial interrogation thus far, it does suggest that this particular activity has been ongoing for the last 3 to 4 years.
Right.
And so we could be seeing details emerge subsequently that a number of these containers may have been moved long ago and have been smelted into aluminium poles and subsequently shipped off out of the country. Crosby.
Right. So, Mawana, at the moment, you are on your way to another area where it is alleged that some of these shipments are there.
Yes, that's exactly what's happening. So yesterday, we know that we got details that there was 2 companies, 12 Chinese have been arrested, and then some Ghanaian nationals as well from these 2 companies. Today, we got word that this company, which is in the phone area as well, has also been engaged in this particular illicit activity, and operatives of national security picked up intelligence, and so we're on our way there. Then we can see for ourselves what the details are, and then a lot more briefing can be provided by both the team from national security and then the energy minister, who's been mooting ideas in relation to what it is that can be done to recover some of the investments that have been made into shipping in these containers and these items which are supposed to be used for rural electrification, but have ended up in these warehouses and companies which are now being melted and turned into aluminium poles.
Right. Mawana, I'll let you go. We're having trouble hearing you clearly, but Eric Mawana Egbata is my colleague, and he tells us that he, with the minister and the team, they are on their way to another area where there are reports that some of these missing cables belonging to the Electricity Company of Ghana have been transported to illegally. So you all want to share with us here on 3FM, also on all the Media General platforms, particularly on 3news.com. We'll tell you how it is going and when it all happens. But earlier, my colleague Komla Kluche, he was also with the team last night when the national security operatives moved in to arrest some 12 Chinese nationals, also in relation to the ECG missing cables.
Upon the receipt of an investigative report set up by the Minister of Energy, 1,347 missing containers at the Tema port belonging to the Electricity Company of Ghana, the national security set out in motion upon a tip-off to trace the missing consignment. Intelligence led to 2 Chinese aluminium smelting companies that Shire Hills believed to have bought the conductor cables supposedly that got missing. The team entered the first company, Ponlock Manufacturing Limited, and rounded up 8 Chinese believed to be owners and a Ghanaian manager. A search in the premises showed the conductor cables were being melted together with other scrap to form aluminium bars ready for export.
So here it's called the firehouse. So when it is brought, they cut it into pieces and they feed it into this machine. Then it's just movement. And then to the rampires.
A further search revealed some of the conductor cables were concealed in car rims. The purpose remains unknown. Convinced that there could be more to the suspicions, the operatives also uncovered the wooden rolls the conductors were binded on being bent.
That was a report by my colleague Kumla Kluge. Join us on our social media platforms for the full reports there. But now, let's now speak to Richard Torkornoo. He's a fraud prevention expert and a security consultant on these developing instances concerning the electricity company of Ghana. Mr. Torkornoo, thank you. Do you think the security agencies will get to the bottom of this investigations, particularly so because we don't know the real individuals who sold the cables to these Chinese companies? How far can government go, and when can we expect, results?
I agree with you perfectly. What came to my mind this morning, I wouldn't have used the word missing. I would have said cables have been stolen or containers of electricity has been stolen. And once they are stolen, there are thieves who stole it. Who are these thieves? Before we even get to know who their accomplices are. I'm only hoping that the angle the story came from and the way it is going, the accomplices who claim to have bought stolen items which belongs to the state will lead the law enforcement officers, particularly the frontliners from the National Security Secretariat, in getting to know who stole the cables, who stole the containers, and why they were sold at the various places. Other than that, we might retrieve some quantity of the elements stolen, and we wouldn't get to the bottom of it.
You, an ace investigator, Mr. Torkornoo, from where you sit and from your experience, how would you rate the current investigations ongoing, and what initial steps should be taken when investigating the sudden disappearance of such materials?
I think what they have done now, because of the quantum involved or the quantity involved, their main focus now is to retrieve the containers or the quantities and as much as they can. And once that is done, then they move to the next level to ask people, where did you buy it from? Who brought it to you? What was the contact? What was the agreement? And what was the amount involved? Once they are able to do that, then they will get to the actual corporates who did that. The difficulty there is that if you do not hurry up, then the corporates, knowing that the media has picked it up, they may go underground or they may leave the jurisdiction. What I would have done, which is also part of their doing, is that we divide ourselves. Whilst we are going after the containers and whatever they might be, let's also take inventory from when the consignment arrived in Ghana, who imported it, who are the people behind it, when it was auctioned, who resold it, and pick up everybody as electricity corporation, including everybody, key management, the procurement officers, whether the board people are aware, everybody needs to be brought in. And once you pick everybody and you begin to interview them or question them, it speed up the investigation process. And you may pick a lot more people within a very quickest possible time, rather than going after the containers before you begin to question people, where did you get it from? Because this has happened not just yesterday and not just today. Right. And it wasn't like there's so much plural security at Gapua that somebody walked in there and picked this one. These were deliberate attempts. People picked them and went and sold them. So they are thieves who are stealing a state property, and that's the way it needed to be treated.
Mr. Torkornoo, always a pleasure talking to you. Richard Torkornoo is a fraud prevention expert and a security consultant there. This is still Midday on 3FM 92.7. Let's bring you some more stories. The Supreme Court will hear the injunction application filed by the Member of Parliament for Old Tafo, Vincent Ekwesifo, against the processes to remove the Chief Justice Gertrude Torkornoo on Wednesday, April 2. There's more in this report.
Ghana's constitution provides that a justice of a superior court shall only be removed from office for stated misbehavior, incompetence, or on ground of inability to perform the functions of his office arising from infirmity of body or mind. If a person seeks the removal of the Chief Justice, he must send the petition to the President. The constitutional provision originally only required the President to, in consultation with the Council of State, appoint a committee consisting of 2 justices of the Supreme Court, one of whom shall be appointed chairman by the President, and 3 other persons who are not members of the Council of State, nor members of Parliament, nor lawyers to inquire into the petition. The Supreme Court, in the case of Frank J. Chum versus Attorney General, explained that it was necessary for the President, in consultation with the Council of State, to first determine whether a prima facie case is disclosed in the petition. This is a process to decide whether at first impression a person will conclude that the petition raises issues worth inquiring into. Minister of State in charge of Government Communications, Phyllis Kwachio-Fosu, in a March 25th statement indicated that the President had forwarded 3 petitions to the Council of State for consultation processes to begin. MP for Old Tafo Vincent Eko Asefua had initiated a legal action challenging this referral. He holds the view that the President must make the petition available to the Chief Justice to receive a comment before this consultation. The Chief Justice has also written to the President asking to be allowed to respond to the petitions. The MP has asked the Supreme Court to halt the ongoing consultation until the case is determined. This case will be heard by the court on Wednesday, April 2nd, 2025.
And that was a report by my colleague Christian Yali there. Now, we're still staying with matters of court, because we know the case seeking to hold the removal process will be heard on Wednesday. And as you may be aware, the Chief Justice decides which judges handle any case filed at the Supreme Court. Legal practitioner Samson Adu-Boahene says the Chief Justice will still have to decide which judges will hear this case, despite the fact that it raises issues affecting her interest directly.
Yes, that's absolutely correct. The doctrine of necessity. There is no other person appointed and mandated to empanel the Supreme Court than the Chief Justice. For as long as the Chief Justice is there, it is the duty of the Chief Justice to do. I don't know if a Chief Justice will say, well, I want to allow the next person, the next senior person to me to do this. I don't know, but that's the duty of the Chief Justice, and you can't change the law.
Well, Adu-Boahene is a legal practitioner speaking there. Meanwhile, legal luminaries have espoused diverse opinions regarding the Chief Justice's request to have copies of the petition seeking her removal. Private legal practitioner and also former member of Parliament for Tamale Central, Haji Yusuf Hussein, he says the Chief Justice is jittery. He spoke on Sunrise earlier today.
Maybe it is the premonition informing the composition of the Council of State that is making the Chief Justice jittery. Well, what about if the Council of State comes to the conclusion that petitions are not weighty enough to require the Chief Justice to open, to be investigated?
Right.
And you are suggesting that the Council of State cannot come to that conclusion? Is that the feeling that I get? If that is the feeling, it is what is pushing that narrative of Justice Aban is what is pushing the Chief Justice to try to use practices that she developed under Article 1463 when a petition for the removal of a Superior Court of Judicature is referred to her, to try to supplant the requirement of determining a prima facie case.
Yusuf Hussein is a private legal practitioner and also former member of Parliament for Tamale Central. There also former MP for Gomwa West, Alexander Kojo-Aban, believes the Chief Justice accusers must be bold enough to face her.
I think that anybody who has thought about it to say that, yes, I have a case to make against the Chief Justice should also be bold enough to say that, yes, I'm ready to face the person I'm accusing. Because it's a cardinal rule of law that let your accuser, the accused person must be given the opportunity to face or meet the accuser. So once somebody has had the boldness to accuse the Chief Justice, he should stand ready also to meet face-to-face with the person.
And that's the voice of former MP for Gomoa West, Alexander Kojokom Aban, believes that the Chief Justice accusers must be bold enough to face her. To some other stories this afternoon, Parliament is expected to rise today, and as usual, the House will be busy trying to finish up parliamentary business before close of day. Our reporter Evelyn Tingma she's been in Parliament. She's joining us shortly on some of the instances or the conditions or the circumstances or the bills that Parliament will be considering today before the House rises. Stay with us here on 3FM. We'll bring you details in subsequent bulletins. Now, the former Director General of the National Signals Bureau and his wife, Kwabena Adu-Boahene, the wife is Angela J. Boahene, they have been in court today. Now, a high court has reduced the bail conditions for the former Signals Bureau Director from 120 million cedis to 80 million cedis with two sureties with one justification. Now, that of his wife remains the same. Both passports should remain with Yoko and travels should be on express permission. Remember that the couples, they were seeking bail at their court pending investigations by the Economic and Organized Crime Office, EOCO. They filed the motion against EOCO and the Attorney General following their inability to execute the bail while in custody. Adu-Boahene was granted bail in the sum of 120 million cedis, while his wife was offered 80 million cedis bail. The former NSB boss and his wife, they've been accused of diverting some 39.4 million cedis of state funds after signing a $7 million cyber defense software contract. My colleague, Loaded Wasari, has been in court when the High Court reduced the bail conditions for the former Signals Bureau Director and his wife, if you like. Lord, thank you for making time with us on the program. Are they confident that these new bail conditions will be met?
Well, Crosby, immediately the hearing was done, officials from EOCO escorted the former Signals Bureau Director General to the premises to go and go through the processes for the bail conditions. And from the sense that we got from his lawyers, they are much satisfied with the conditions and are confident that they will be able to meet it, because in their argument, they indicated that it's unfair and it's basically trump on their rights, because the affidavit in support filed by the defendants, which is the Attorney General, and then the EOCO, had made it seem from the word that one of the exhibits showed that he had bought 27 properties, and so that wrong perception was created that they are affable or they are affluent and can easily take care of that, especially because, again, the Deputy Attorney General made a case in court that there was a third person who was also in custody, Ben Mauli, but he was able to meet his bail condition. So the Deputy Attorney General did not see a reason why that bail condition should be reduced. But after hearing the arguments from lawyers for the suspects and then the Attorney General, the presiding judge in the matter, Ruby Aite, reduced it to 80 with two sureties, and then that of his wife was retained at the same point with no justification. And because one thing that also came up in court was that, and that was one of the things that the prosecution were trying to make a case for the reduction not to be made. Now, they indicated that upon his arrest, his wife was contacted, and immediately she was put through CCTV cameras per the prosecution led by the Deputy Attorney General, Dr. Justice Ramsay, indicated that CCTV captured his wife ripping apart a suitcase that they believe contained multiple foreign bills, possibly to destroy evidence and other matters.
I see.
He also indicated that both suspects or both applicants of the bill have multiple passports. For example, the former NSB Director General, they indicated that had 3 other passports. And so the case made by their lawyers that the prosecution had already seized their passports did not really hold water because his wife has a dual citizenry, and so she had other passports as well. Crosby.
Lord, thank you, Lord Ruasare, as our court correspondent speaking with us. Let's now take a listen to Samuel Atacha, his lawyer for the former NSB boss.
Your comments, Counsel, during your arguments with the court, you did indicate that if the court gives the equal power of the courts to the AG, a number of you will be put.
Of course.
What does that mean?
It means that the power for justice delivery is not with the law enforcement agencies and investigators, with the court. It's the court that should set a man free and not those who are the captors. And it should hold sway in everywhere where civility is being practiced and democracy is being practiced. There's never a time that the freedom of an individual was ceded to those who are investigating. That freedom is with the court. So when they see their power, the 48-hour rule, anybody can come to court to come and see justice. This is what we've done.
Okay, all right, thank you.
And that's the voice of Atacha speaking with my colleague Lord Edwasare in court there. Let's take you back to Parliament because it is expected to rise today, and as usual, the House will be busy trying to finish a parliamentary business before close of day. Evelyn Tingma is our parliamentary correspondent. She's joining us. Evelyn, for the past couple of days, Parliament has been very busy. Tell us what the business for the day is like for the members of Parliament today.
Yeah, Crosby, I must say it's going to be a fully packed day. As you know, the House this week has been very busy with the approval of the budget estimates for the various ministries, departments, and agencies. And today, they have only 4 of them left, fortunately. And we are talking about the Parliamentary Service budget estimates, the Judiciary and the Judicial Service budget estimates, the General Government Services budget estimates, and the Foreign Affairs. So as we speak, the Foreign Affairs budget estimates currently being taken on the floor, and members are debating on that. And so we are expecting that after all the budget estimates have been approved, we'll have the appropriation bill, which is the most important for government, and that bill will be passed. And of course, government will have the will to or the authority to spend during the year 2025. And so, aside to the budget estimates, and yesterday the Finance Minister, Dr. Kasia Latoforsen, also presented some bills to the House, which included the Ghana Cocoa Board Amendment Bill, and the Public Financial Management Bill, the Petroleum Revenue Management Amendment Bill, and the Ghana Gold Board Bill 2025. And so, we are expecting that the House will debate on all of these bills today and get them passed. And of course, with the Cocoa Board bill, and we are told that we know that Cocoa Board is currently under the Food and Agriculture Ministry, and government is trying to take it away from that particular ministry and send it to the Finance Ministry, because we are told that most of Cocoa Board's activities are mainly financial, and so the Finance Ministry will have to have that supervisory role over Cocoa Board. And so that will be done today, and of course, we'll be expecting that all of these things will be done before they rise. Crosby.
Evelyn, thank you so much for your time with us on the program. Evelyn Tingma speaking with us from Parliament there. Now, before we take leave of you this afternoon, the National Intelligence Bureau is on a manhunt for alleged criminal gangs engaged in the transporting of tons of cocaine across Ghana. The NIB intercepted the massive consignment of cocaine weighing 3.3 tons en route to Accra from the Western region. The operation conducted on March 4, 2025 at Peidu Junction in Cape Coast uncovered 143 sacks of cocaine concealed beneath sand in a tipper truck traveling from Takoradi in the Western region to Waja in Accra. The truck, which had 2 occupants, was intercepted following intelligence gathering efforts by the NIB. Now, 2 of the suspects have been arrested while the rest are on the run. Hence, the National Intelligence Bureau is on a manhunt for the remaining suspect. But that's how we wrap up on the Midday News here on 3FM 92.7. There's more news always on our website, 3news.com. My name is Noble Crosby Annan. Thank you so much for spending your afternoon with us. Business News is up next. Have a great afternoon.